In other news, it appears that Hollywood Studios Park has a little bit of a different way of entering. The contactless screening process has been brought to Disney's Hollywood Studios. We saw this rolled out at Disney's Animal Kingdom upon reopening, and first before that, we saw it over at Disney Springs. Basically, that whole touching your bags and going through stuff and it being a very intimate security experience is no longer the case at not only Animal Kingdom, Disney Springs, but now Hollywood Studios. And you see there that in that image, if you're watching, obviously it's kind of a wide open area. You've got some panels to either side of you that detect whether or not you are going through with anything on your person that you shouldn't have. And so it's something that's definitely been a lot more helpful, it looks like, to anybody that has visited the parks that might be carrying things in a bag or might be, walking through with a bunch of stuff. And it's hard for those parents that have to unpack everything because it's a whole 10-minute process just to get through their stroller and just to get through all the little nooks and crannies of their bags. You see now a video playing from the company itself that has gone to great lengths to install these across Walt Disney World property, and it kind of gives you an idea as to what you face when you walk through at a theme park or Disney Springs now. And it's definitely something that I think we've talked about before when we saw these were first being added. Seems like something that should have been in existence a long time ago for the sake of huge crowds at the Disney parks because it just saves so much time. It's a lot more efficient, it appears, and seems to be quite accurate, according to at least everything we have seen reported and been told, and definitely tracks a lot of people coming in and out, has those close-up camera shots of folks as they enter, and so there's even an enhanced security mechanism to this. Garrett, knowing that Walt Disney World has now added this to 2 theme parks as well as Disney Springs, are you looking forward to seeing this in other parks? Because I think from an efficiency standpoint, this could be very beneficial.
I am very excited about this. When we first talked about this a few months ago, I was ecstatic then, and I'm even happier now that it's actually being implemented even more. I think it's a complete game changer because I know that was one thing that so many guests complained about, like, I don't want them to go into my bag. That's my personal space. And especially now with COVID, I don't want them touching stuff, possibly spreading COVID if they were to come into contact with it. So I'm very ecstatic about this technology being used. I only hope that they will put it into the other remaining parks out there and possibly the water parks when those do reopen 2025 maybe. But I still go back to my original idea that I pitched months ago about how I would love for these to become themed, like matching the motif of everything, not just being like white and blue, but maybe having Mickey Mouse dots on there or something to that degree. But overall, security going in this way in a more innovative way is something that I think the former CEO Bob Iger would go for, because when he joined the team as the CEO, he talked about wanting to use innovative technology to its advantages, and I have no doubt that he's probably happy, or maybe he was the one that pushed this idea. But this security is definitely far superior than I think what they were doing in the past, because if the machine is really, really accurate to the 99th percentile, I'm down for that. Soon Disney will become more efficient than the TSA. That's how I see this thing going.
And Tyler, this is something that I think from a guest service standpoint too seems to be really helpful because you're not having to have that really like personal interaction with somebody wearing a badge and having to go through your stuff, which can feel invasive depending on what you have in your bag. And it from an efficiency standpoint sounds good, and then from a service standpoint sounds great. You want to see these things show up at Disneyland?
1,000,000,000%. I usually say 1,000%. Today, 1,000,000,000%.
A billion.
Yeah, no, I really want this. This is just, and especially because we've been to Downtown Disney a couple times now, and it still is weird. They put like a little plastic barrier up on the table now, but that's like, what is this even doing? The guy still has his hands in the bag and everything. So, and as somebody who often would take a big bag of cameras and tripods and stuff to Disney, this is just like my dream come true. But can we really trust this company if they don't even know how to spell evolve, though? That's my question. No, but in all seriousness, though, I really am excited for it, and I just really hope that they bring it over to Disneyland. I'm assuming if it goes well over there, we'll probably get it. Hope so.
That would be nice. I know that those security screening processes coming online for now 2 theme parks and Disney Springs are something that can only serve a place as busy as the Magic Kingdom when it's hopping and when it's in full swing. That can only be something that helps absolutely everybody from a cast member standpoint, a security standpoint, a guest standpoint, just to be able to sort of walk through and move about without any real stopping, without any real reason to have to slow down, is going to make for such a better experience. And obviously Disney is one of those places that has so much emphasis on that guest experience and ensuring that you walk away kind of feeling like, you weren't necessarily put up against a wall in terms of security and, made to think about security, because for the longest time, and, we've talked about this prior, for the longest time, Disney didn't even necessarily want a bag check for the sake of that clear and obvious reason for having it. Like, for people to see that and go, I hope there's not a problem here. I hope there's not an issue. I hope nothing's going on. And, we've seen it evolve into more than just a bag check and, metal detectors, and things sort of increased over the years because it had to, out of necessity. So to know that an appliance, I guess, like this exists, a piece of equipment like this exists that can just have you flow on through and you're none the wiser to what's being seen and detected, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a savior. I mean,
Yeah.
I as a bag holder myself, it's sometimes annoying because the lines get very long, and then you get the groups of people that at Disney World, they don't know that it goes on both sides of security. And so they all line up on the same row right behind each other, and then they go, oh, and so I'm like technically next, and then they're like, oh, but all these people are with me, and then there's like 7 people going through, and then they have to check those bags, and then there's, parents, they have to have snacks and bags and whatever, so it's just like a bagception thing going on where they just keep pulling out bags, and I'm just like, so I think this would be like really, really great. And then plus I just don't really like people like touching my bags all the time because they have to go, I mean, if whoever owns bags, there's little pockets everywhere, and they have to go in every single like little pocket, open up your sunglass case, and then so it's just, I think it's just so much better for them to do this. And I can't wait for Disneyland to do this because right now they have to go to they have to walk through this dog smelling area. And then you have to go to the security bag check. And then there's this like plexiglass with this like little slot, and you have to shove your bag underneath the slot so they can look at it. And then they shove it back underneath. And you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Katrina, to add on to you, I think we should count ourselves lucky that Disney went with this new innovative technology that doesn't know how to spell the correct word, over doing what, say, TSA does, which is putting it in an X-ray box and scanning it, because that would have just taken up more room and probably would have decreased the amount of security lines that there are. Rather than having 20 security, you'd only have 10, because at TSA, you see how big those machines are. So I think if this technology works just as good as everything else, then I say keep going in this direction, and hopefully this becomes a trend not only with Disney but around the United States as a start.
Yeah. Get it in Epcot, man. I saw that line this morning. It looks insane.
I will say that, like, Universal Studios has been using X-ray machines for quite a while now, especially in Florida. They were using it for much longer than they were in Hollywood, and that's what I thought I wanted. Like, I wanted Disney to do that, and then now Disney's like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna Disney this up.
We're gonna evolve, if you will.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
They probably know how to spell it right, and unlike the company that makes this. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, Kurt. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, again, I used to bring camera bags and stuff like that, and they were like utility bags that had like a bunch of different pockets. I just hope that sort of thing can be squashed by this new technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it will. It's already proving to in so many different capacities across Walt Disney World property. We look forward to it coming to, hopefully, Disneyland upon its reopening. I mean, now that there's all this ample downtime, maybe they just install it now. I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like Downtown Disney has some pretty reduced hours during the week. Might be time to come on in overnight and install some things.
What?
Well, might be better
They
for
do
everyone.
some magical overnight things every now and then. I think this this is the moment to do that magical
Hit that
overnight
pixie dust
thing.
button.
Yeah.
Yeah, my gosh.
There's a button?
There is. Yeah.
You didn't know that? Oh.
There it is. Kurt has
That's
the
the
button.
sound that it
Told
makes.
ya.
Press it.
That's the button. Absolutely. But it's great to have this company on board with Disney and these huge guest enhancements happening. We couldn't be more proud of the company for making this decision. It's definitely good for everybody.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.